Hello. So in this one, I am going to show you all how swastik busts the Aryan invasion and migration theory. Well, the Aryan invasion theory has already been debunked as there were no archaeological evidence of any invasion found in the Indus Valley sites. But then the Westerners proposed another theory that's called the Aryan migration theory. Well, what is it? So basically, they say that the nomads, Aryans, they migrated from the west to India after the decline of Indus Valley, and yeah, basically they inhabited the plains near Indus then. So they basically say that from Central Asia, nomad Aryans came to India with the Vedic religion and with the Hindu religion. So let's deep dive in this. We can first see here, well, the swastik symbols in different civilizations, and you can notice one common thing in all these three, that all these three civilizations, they they described the swastik symbol with its physical features, not not any deeper or, well, symbolic meaning. So in the ancient Native American civilization, it was called a whirling log. In ancient Greek, it was basically called four gammas, and in the Celtic civilization, it was called four-footed. So yeah, you can see that they are basically describing the physical features of the symbol, not the deeper or or basically the spiritual meaning of the symbol. So here you can see the swastik in India, both in Indus Valley sites and in current day India. Here we can see that swastika in India basically predates the Aryan migration, well, the so-called alleged Aryan migration. The people, the liberals especially, they like Wikipedia very much. It's a liberal site, we all know that. But I have used Wikipedia here only to basically come to four conclusions. So we can see here that Aryan migration started after 2000 BCE, and since 2000 BCE, Rig Veda is being orally transmitted at least. So that means when the Aryans just started migrating, they already had Rigved, at least the older books of Rigved, that's for sure. And we can see the first book of Rigved mentions the root word swasti, and this root word swasti is then used in the word swastik. So let's take a turn here. Let's talk about the Rigvedic holy river Saraswati. Saraswati is also a Hindu goddess, but in Rigved it is also referred to as a river. It was a river in the Rigvedic times, and most archaeologists and most historians say that the Ghaggar Hakra system was basically the Saraswati River, but it dried up with time. In the old texts of Rigved, Saraswati is called a bringer of floods, though. So that means Aryans in 2000 BCE saw Saraswati as a great river while they had just started moving towards India. But this will brings up three questions. Why would the Aryan outsiders call an Indian river great? And why would they only mention Indian rivers, not Central Asian rivers as great too? As their home was in Central Asia, they migrated from Central Asia to India basically. And if Vedic Aryans came after the IVC's decline, the Indus Valley civilization's decline, why don't they mention finding ancient ruins or people doing yagyas, basically fire rituals? And there is another problem with it. Actually, you can see here in the first image from Wikipedia, it says the identification of mighty physical Rigvedic Saraswati with the Gagar Hakra system is problematic because that river had already dried up by the time Rigved was composed, basically. So why would the Rigvedic people say that a small river, a dried up river, is a great river, is a bringer of floods? Actually, Rigved mentions Saraswati the most times if we compare it with other rivers, even more than Ganga and Indus. So yeah, Saraswati was very important for them, and the Ghaggar Hakra system cannot be Saraswati because it had already dried up. So it basically points towards two options. Either Ghaggar Hakra system is not Saraswati River, or Aryans did not come from the west. They were already in India, and they were in India at the time when Ghaggar Hakra system was not dried up. So well, they did not come from the west. Anyway, here in the left, we can see the Pashupati seal from Indus Valley civilization sites, showing Proto Shiva in a yogic posture, and in the right, we can see a skeleton found in IVC site buried in a yogic posture, matching the yogic posture in the Pashupati seal. So we can see that yoga was being practiced in Indus Valley civilization. But where does the word yog come from? The word yog also comes from Rig Veda, and here you can see that uh, in Rig Veda it basically means to control. In yoga, what do we do? In yoga, we control our body, we control our mind basically, right? We control our senses. So the concept of yoga in Indus Valley in the and of the Rig Vedic people, they were also the same. In Indus Valley, we also find Shivlingam, and basically the current Hindus also uh, pray to Shivling. So that's a cultural continuity which we can see here. Anyway, at Kalibangan, fire altars have been discovered, and these were for ritualistic purposes. Who else used fire altars? Basically, the Vedic people. And here in Kalibangan, Kalibangan is basically another Indus Valley site. So the Indus Valley people were also doing fire rituals. Wow, that's interesting. Well, let's come to a recent discovery. The Archaeological Survey of India has unearthed evidence of a civilization dating back 4,500 years. Well, that's how many years? That's 2,500 BC. Okay. And the ancient river system supported early human settlements and connected Bahars to the largest Saraswati basin culture. Basically, they yielded a 23-meter deep paleo channel here, and that paleo channel is said to be connected with the Saraswati River. And well, which Saraswati River? Again, of the Ghaggar Hakra system. So yeah, it's basically confirmed now that the Ghaggar Hakra system was the Saraswati River. Yeah, and here they found again Yasna Kundas, which are basically fire altars used for fire worship and Devta worship, and again idols of Shiva and Parvati, more in period sculptures. But yeah, the site is dated to 2500 BCE. So yeah, that's that. Well, to which conclusions can we come now? So there are 5 points which we must remember in this. The old books of Rigved refer to a Saraswati river as a great flood-bringing river. Then we can be 95% sure that the Garhakra system is the Saraswati river. Already most archaeologists agree on this. Plus, Kalibangan was based on its shore, and the recent ASI discovery of its paleo channel and another IVC settlement near it strengthens the point even more. Well, the Aryans wouldn't have called a mighty flood bringing river, uh, uh, well, they wouldn't have called Saraswati a mighty flood bringing river if they came from the west, as according to the proposed timeline, before they would have even started to come eastwards, it had already dried up a lot. Why would they call it a great flood bringing river then? And then we can find the cultural continuity between the IVC people and the Vedic people. For example, praying to Shivlings, Yog, mother goddesses, fire altars, fire worship, etc. Uh, there is this thing, the first hymn of Rigved, it praises Agnidev, who is the fire god. So yeah, both the Indus Valley people and the Rigvedic people, they gave great importance to fire and fire god. Then the first instance of the symbol swastik being defined not by its physical features but by its real symbolic meaning comes in Sanskrit, even though the symbol was already present in IVC sites, suggesting definition of swastik being passed down by the IVC people to the Vedics. So, with these 5 points, we can conclude basically the fact that the IVC language must have been Proto Sanskrit or Sanskrit in some other script. The knowledge of rituals, geography, and symbols got passed down in the same civilization. The Aryans were none other than the people of Indus Valley civilization only. This explains the Vedic Aryans being obsessed with India and Indian geography, following the rituals and practices of the IVC people, and not mentioning any Central Asian homeland or a great journey towards the east, or any other people like the people of IVC or any ancient ruins of the Indus Valley civilization. And being able to define swastik with its real symbolic meaning and not describing it just by its physical structure like other civilizations did. So this points us towards the fact that the people of Indus Valley changed the script of their language at some time from the IVC script to Sanskrit basically. And the Vedic Aryans were the people of IVC only. You can say that they were the next generation of the Indus Valley civilization. But here's another catch. The use of the word Aryan for both linguistic and racial classification is wrong. It means something else entirely. And what does it mean basically? It means being noble. It doesn't have any racial or linguistic value. If you wanna deep dive into it, you can check out the video where I explained whether the Tamil and tribal gods were Vedic or not, are Vedic or not. If you want a deep dive into what does Aryan mean, and yeah, the said topic. So thank you for it. Jai Shri Lakshmi Narsingh Dev, Jai Prahlad Maharaj.